Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Analytica. This is your host, Joe Saz, and we're going to be talking today about some Bitcoin price action. Before we get started, if you haven't already, go to sazanalytica.com and join the Discord channel where we'll be able to communicate. We have separate channels. We'll be having all kinds of price calls and trades and stuff going on in there. So be sure to join, as well as you'll be getting Fabian's presets and stuff like that for the algo if you get it. So yeah, everyone pop in Discord, sazanalytica.com, and get into that Discord channel. All right, well, while we're getting started here, let's cover a little bit of what's happened in the past hours since yesterday's stream. We had a nice sharp move up. Let's see, I can't remember if this happened before or after we streamed yesterday, but I think this happened after, or it happened before. We had consistency in the signals as we moved up. We did meet resistance up here, very similar to how we met resistance up here, only that we didn't come all the way back down for a full retrace and channel sideways. Well, sideways and up, let's say. So we got a move up and a sharp move down, but this time it was bought up and mostly upheld. Yesterday, actually, I think it's just on my other computer. We have a horizontal area right here of support. Been acting that way, and I like what I see. The past number of weekends, we've mostly gone sideways. I like the fact that we're calm on the weekends to create minimal CME gap stuff so that we don't have to come rolling back into anything and, you know, run back down to clear some stuff up and cause some fear, run up too far too fast, and then worry about a CME gap sitting down below. So I like how the weekends have been chill lately, and I hope that we get that still. It's going to take some time to figure that out. Obviously, we have 2 days, so let's see how this all plays out before we get our weekly open on Sunday. But I think we're going to be going sideways here. And what does this mean for a more midterm price direction? To me, this is looking good. It's looking good because we're recovering a lot of the lost ground from the massive crash we had over here on the daily. Let's just go over here on the daily Bitcoin chart, USD. On Coinbase, our massive crash over here, failed attempt back up, a lower low, and then we started buying and playing the game again, right? But this time, instead of something just straight vertical, we've built some stairs, and as a result of those stairs we built, we came down, pressed it, and managed to rebuild ourselves. That's strong price discovery, good psychology to see us build as we climb our way out of the hole. So I like what I'm seeing. This is, you would think that that we can sweep right back up after something like this, and we started to, but sellers really capped us out and ran the book back down. So it's a little dangerous. I think these sellers might be on the wrong side of history, but we're still gonna have to wait and see. You know, we probably have, this has been playing out since middle of August. So we still have, I mean, a lot of time. It just, we really sat here and we started hanging out. Very unfortunate. Just to note, we do have a CME gap in the low 26,000 range again. So that's definitely something on our plate. And it wouldn't surprise me if we bounce somewhere between here and up here until the halving in May next year. We still have a wide open CME gap down south, 19 to 20K range, 19,000 to 21,000 range. So that's always going to be in the rearview mirror for me. It's just too big of a CME gap to just leave behind. But who knows? Who knows? We could live without feeling that. Okay, so that's some CME gaps for us here, and we're doing what I was hoping we would do. We lost the fight to the 50-day moving average like a week and a half ago or something like that. But it is coming down at such a fast rate that going sideways would cause us to catch up with it, which we have, and now we've been supported by the 50-day moving average once, and hopefully more. So this is actually looking pretty technical, and pretty technical is something we can use right now. especially being that we're floating down here in outer space for so long. So let's just hover over this. If you guys have any questions, please jump in the comments. I see Stay Liquid friends here. Long. I'm hoping for a grind up to 28K. Yeah, I think 28K is probably one of the first places I would think we're headed. 28K looks pretty solid. Let me pull up my chart again. I'm looking over here. And 27,972, basically, let's say 28K. Let's put this on like a 30-minute chart. And let's see why this matters. Okay, so that's our resistance area. And I think we could reclaim a lot of that. We probably could and should. It's taken a long time. This has been very grindy and unfortunate of a situation. A lot of people must have gotten nuked and pushed out the market, and it just makes this bear market that much more grueling. Or maybe not bear market, but you know, the bottom's in, and we did a lot of climbing out of the hole since January. Yeah, earlier this year, got out and made some significant strides to the upside, and people were pretty damn happy. This was probably the most active I've seen the Bitcoin community in a long time. Was probably these couple moves, and started to drown out again. So I don't see much activity in the community. I think another run will have people tweeting about it and everyone, you know, circle jerking some retweets and likes and stuff like that. But and that's not a bad thing, you know, just for lack of a better phrase. Yeah, so I think overall things are looking pretty sound. Now, Stay Liquid. I think 28K is our area where we're targeting a move to the upside before we hit some resistance. And we can also see that in the order book. 27.5 is probably one of our biggest areas, and then on up ahead is 28 flat. Those are the two most significant walls up until 30K. Another 300 pack, 302, 397, 302, 307 again at 30,000, at 31 another fat stack, 303. So it really clears up above 28K, but obviously there's going to be resistance at that point. I thought I had to sneeze. All right, maybe not. All right. Hope everyone's having a happy Friday. I hope everyone's living their best life and having a great time. Obviously, life is beautiful, so make sure you enjoy it. Stay Liquid. What's your thoughts on ordinals, Lightning? You would like it or prefer it, or just be digital gold and sit? You know, look, I've been told a little bit about ordinals, and I've even sat with people who are much smarter than me who've explained ordinals. And my understanding is to make a long story short, is it's kind of like NFTs on Bitcoin. And look, I think whatever the chain allows is fine. You know, it's like if Bitcoin can scale to allow more use cases, then I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what the problem is. If it can scale to accommodate these demands, then I would say it's fine. You know, I think Lightning Network was a massive scaling move in the right direction for Bitcoin. Obviously, someone like Bitcoin Mechanic would be the expert to explain why that really is or isn't. I can't say I'm the absolute best, but my understanding is like something like Lightning Network does scale Bitcoin massively. Especially as we know for micropayments, microtransactions. So the way that to think about it is like Lightning is your cash that you carry around, and your hardware wallet is like your bank account. And Lightning allows you to basically keep Bitcoin in the Lightning Network, and all of that will move around wallet to wallet through a sequence of wallets, channels. And it will allow for the instantaneous use of Satoshis. So there's definitely a massive use case for the Lightning Network. And I think something like ordinals, again, if my understanding is even in the right ballpark, whatever they are, it doesn't matter to me. If the chain can scale to accommodate that demand for that particular use, then to me there's no problem. There isn't a problem. So let's see, Gary. Lightning is definitely great, but ordinals are something most of us purists were not happy Taproot ushered in. Yeah, you know, I do think of Bitcoin as money, but, you know, money is speech. what, it really opens up a can of worms that I can't say I'm the most um uh competent in the subject matter. I I say, look, if Bitcoin can accommodate, then we're all good. Who's getting hurt by it? That's the main question to me. If the chain, like, look, if the chain can get hurt by something, then it's not good. It's not good for Bitcoin. So I yeah, what's up, Andre? So again, I don't know everything, but money is speech. If people choose to make something work this way, then let them have it. If it damages the chain, then innovations will need to arise to sprout in order to solve whatever problems this leaves behind. So I'm curious. And back to Stay Liquid. After this potential move up, do you think we retest 15 to 18 before we next bull market? I'm not 100% sure yet. I look, the one that I care about most, the only reason why I'm any hint of bearishness exists in my bullish blood is because of the CME gap. That's $19,000 to $21,000 range, somewhere around there. So I could see a move down there to fill a CME gap. Could we consolidate and play around? Sure, absolutely. But keep in mind, the clock is ticking. I mean, we have a winter, we have a spring, and then we have the halving. So we're not far off from something that significant that's going to probably usher in a bull market, probably similar to the previous bull markets we've had. Is Bitcoin going to 10x, or 100x or anything like that? Probably not. Are we going to pop into the triple digits? I think there's a strong chance of that happening. But yeah, if we go down that low, what does it look like? It's probably going to be ugly and painful. It's ugly and painful right now. We just spent a number of weeks in ugly and painful 25K and 26K territory. So I can only imagine that anything below that is going to be very, very painful. So, and absolutely annihilate a lot of the bullish psychology that still lingers. But, price goes down, stack sats. That's the only thing I can really say as a silver lining to a move down. But, I don't think we're going to 15K. I don't think we're making a lower low. I think the bottom is in. And the closer we get to the halving, as the weeks pass and the months pass, I would say the more likely we are to get something like that off the table, unless there's a black swan event, which we all know is very possible. In fact, March of 2020, there was the COVID crash, which was our massive black swan event that preceded that halving, and that halving set us up for a 3.5x all-time high mark. All right, so let's see, Gary. I will say, if you want to pay us miners transaction fees for stupid inscriptions, then go right ahead. Yeah, Gary, that's kind of what I'm thinking. To each their own. Let people have their shit. If it doesn't damage the chain, and if this is something that people demand, then let it ride. If it damages the chain, then that's unfortunate. Bitcoin will need to figure it out. And we have a lot of smart minds behind it. So, yeah, I can't say that it really upsets me or anything like that. If Bitcoin is the best, then if it's the apex predator, the honey badger, then it has to be able to survive everything, which include innovations and and all kinds of fears, 51% attacks, whatever, right? Stay liquid. Oh, Andre, happy weekend to you as well, brother. Joe and wolves. I love wolves. I want a wolf, a homie. But I got my son, so he's my little homie for now. He can run, but not as fast as a wolf. I don't think he can hunt yet either, but he's pretty cool. Yeah, for sure. Happy to be here. Happy Friday, and just figured I would pop in for a late stream. Got my son to sleep, so now I'll just hang out with you guys for a bit. And Stay Liquid. Do you like ETH? Look, there's a lot of bad things about Ethereum. I'm personally a Bitcoin maximalist. I think almost everything else is a scam. And the only reason I say almost is because I don't know everything, and I don't know what corner of the market innovations may exist behind the curtain that we don't know about. There's much smarter people than me that will probably say no such innovation can ever topple Bitcoin or be better than Bitcoin in its use of blockchain technology. I'm not sure, because I'm not the best guy. And to be honest, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are the smartest in the room and could be wrong. The future, no one knows what the future holds for something like, blockchain tech. The thing is, my understanding is that blockchain tech is the idea is to make something inefficient, and that's why it makes good money. It's an inefficient process, so you can't spam money, right? Proof of work and cryptography and consensus to maintain the integrity of the chain, and miners and all that stuff. And it caused a revolution in money, a massive innovation and revolution in how we view money and how money can be used. And so I definitely think anything with a pre-mine, I would say, is a scam. Ethereum was majority pre-mined. Now, with that being said, a lot of stuff on ETH does work. DeFi, whatever else. But the one thing that comes to mind, because I'm a trader and I'm someone that believes in people having equal powers to massive banks and people that are above governments with their financial power, I believe that there need to be innovations that allow people to transact without the use of KYC, because KYC doesn't matter if you're rich enough. So there's a lot of problems here with Bitcoin, and not problems, but there's a lot of interesting situations that arose as a result of success on other chains. Obviously, if you speed things up, or you increase block size, or you do any of these little minor changes that seem insignificant, it affects security, or it affects decentralization, or it affects scalability. Who knows? It affects all kinds of elements that make Bitcoin what it is. And Bitcoin's the only true, decentralized, anonymous, peer-to-peer form of money. Everything else has a team, CEOs. It has employees, an office, and that office can be held hostage, and changes to the protocol can be made. I think Ethereum is probably an enemy in a way, but there are innovations that transpired. So, I mean, can't hate too hard. But yeah, I mean, I don't really like, I don't like it. I wouldn't invest in Ethereum for 30 years, but probably could be wrong on that one, because if it is the state coin, the centralized state coin, Vitalik working with governments and so forth, then it's probably going to have a future. So yeah, very possible. Now, upside is kind of capped. I know, probably unpopular opinion, but I think it could bring more sell pressure from large players. I don't know. If anything, I think Ethereum, and this is just a trader in me speaking, unfortunately, I want Bitcoin to go 10x every bull cycle or more, right? But at a certain point, that doesn't really happen. That we saw in the last bull cycle, it was like 3.5x. It was at the highest that we made it relative to previous bull cycles where we went 10x, 20x, whatever x, massive increases. So yeah, I would say Ethereum is probably going to outperform, in a percentage sense of the word, Bitcoin in the next bull cycle, where Bitcoin will go from a previous all-time high of, let's just say, 70,000 to 140,000. That's a 2x increase, and that's pretty massive. But with something like Ethereum, it's probably going to go further. Let's say Ethereum's all-time high, I can't remember exactly what it was, but let's say it was 3,000 or 4,000. It can easily go to 20, and that's a 4x, 5x increase at 4K. So I think Ethereum is probably going to outperform Bitcoin in bull markets, and Bitcoin's probably going to be the best money, and it's probably going to be the best crypto asset. But I can't say that that Bitcoin's going to keep repeating 10x moves. We just saw that it stopped last bull cycle, and if anything, I would say it's going to hover around that range, or even potentially go lower. So if I had to put all my eggs in one basket and go to the forest, I'd probably pick Bitcoin. But if if I was a trader and I wanted to make that trade, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. If I was going to be at my computer and I plan to be for the next few years, I would say it's probably not the worst idea. So Stay Liquid saying, I'm thinking about dumping the rest of my ETH for BTC. I don't see it outperform. Oh, well, I guess I just covered all that, right? It's up to you. If you know, look, as if you're trying to get more Bitcoin through the use of trading or holding ETH until it peaks out, and then you sub out your ETH for Bitcoin, you'll probably make more Bitcoin at ETH's all-time high relative to Bitcoin's all-time high, if I had to guess. But, you know, I would also say, hey, look, if you're trying to do all that, then next time Bitcoin all-time highs, then just pull some cash out, sit on the side, and, you know, wait a year, let it bottom out, and pop it back in, you know? So that's historically what we've seen. You know, you wait 10 months to 14 months after an all-time high. Somewhere in that time period, you'll get the bear market low. Then it'll take a long ass time for things to recover. Then we'll have a halving, and then things will sweep back up big time, you know, and we'll get some moves in the middle of all that. But again, we'll have to see, you know, not every bull market's going to be the same. Who knows? With all this global economic uncertainty, maybe Bitcoin goes up further and faster than it did last bull market. Post COVID, lack of faith in all these, you know, in the dollar and stuff like that could change a lot. Yo, what's up, Patrick? Pacific Bitcoin is next week, and SBF trial starts too. Shit, man. I hope it's not a perfect storm there. Nah, I don't think there's much to go, you know, as far as media is concerned in influencing the price of Bitcoin to cause the trial of SBF to knock Bitcoin off the horse any further than it already has been. Not to mention, I already disagree with the whole reason behind the FTX crash. It doesn't make sense to me. An exchange with no Bitcoin, realizing it was bankrupt, caused the crash to fall through the floor of a bear market, arguably a convincing bear market bottom at 20K. I don't agree with that. I think that was whales. I think it was manipulation. I don't think it was anything more. That people were locked out. They couldn't sell their Bitcoin. So it wasn't plebs. It was big fish. As far as Pacific Bitcoin, though, I'm happy to see events are still rolling around in the space. It's always great to see that. And I would hope everyone out there has a great time, and there's probably going to be new faces and new Bitcoiners, and, you know, I'm sure it's a great time. I wish I was excited. I wish I was as excited as I was about crypto as I am, you know, I wish I was excited now at how I used to be, man. I used to absolutely love crypto stuff, man. I used to love going to meetups and events and this and that. I loved it. I really did. And I just feel like the community isn't the same. Like I said, there's probably a lot of new faces, and a number of people have expressed that. And I'm not opposed to new faces, but man, the OGs, which I now consider myself to be one, there was a lot of fun times, man. Parties in the city and parties in Miami and all kinds of crazy fun shit going on. You know, it was so fucking fun, man. There's always shit going on, always good things happening, always fun people to meet. I was just so excited. I couldn't get enough of it. And over time, that just kind of faded away. I think COVID was part of that reasoning, though. COVID really fucked things up, man. No meetups, you know, Miami a few times, maybe a few places. Tone's event, Unconfiscatable, in February of 2020 was a great event. And, you know, there hasn't been anything that really, like, spiked, you know, the hangout game. You know, it was like we used to all just hang out, and it's like, fuck the speakers, and, you know, all due respect to everyone. But it was like, fuck speakers and fuck me, you know, fucking meetings and, you know, halls to listen to one person talk. I would go just for the people. I was having a great time smoking cigars, chilling with people, man. I absolutely loved it. And I still do. I absolutely still do. But I just feel like the community isn't what it used to be. It was so fun back, you know, meeting Tone, you know, in the city, and John Carvalho and Peter Todd and, man, you know, everyone on the list. It was just so freaking fun, man. It was so fun. Excuse me. So, let's see here. Um, Different feeling at events now, yeah. So, but Patrick, I know you like to move around and travel and go to these events, so I hope it's you know, still fun, and I'm sure, like I said, you're meeting new faces, and I'm sure they're all great people and good people and great times, and, you know, so just Have at it, man. I hope to go to one before too long. I've been a dad here for a long enough time that I feel pretty comfortable moving around, but we'll see what happens, you know. Who knows what's gonna happen. I don't think I have met Carvalho in person yet. Yeah, he was a fun dude, man. He was a really fun dude. I mean, I just threw off some names off the top of my head because, like, honestly, I can't think of everyone. You know, look, there used to be toxic Bitcoin maximalist like little crews, man. Me and a number of Twitter handles used to go ripping, you know, in Twitter and go ripping through shitcoiner dreams, man, and it was fucking awesome. And you know, even me and Kevin Pham together, we ripped like some fucking shitcoiners and some XRP tards, and we went through all that and had a blast, man. And it was so fun, just stirring up the community and telling them the truth and then refusing to hear it. There was so much fun going on in the crypto community, man. The shit talk, the wars, the pieces, the you know, interviews and debates. Oh, you know what? You're actually a decent human being, even though you're such a fucking idiot for believing in XRP. You're a decent human being. My words to people like Matt Hamilton and, you know, Green Eggs and Sam, right? Tiffany Hayden, the XRP ringleader, you know, pissing her little beehive off and fucking. Then she switched over to Stellar Lumens, fucking psycho. Yeah, man, there's been some fun shit back in the day, but it's not like that anymore, you know? Me and Psychedelic Bart running through all these fucking little communities. One was named after a mustard, and I remember me and him spent fucking 2 days ripping through these guys, and I remember how like their little shitcoin plebs were fucking tagging the fucking founders of the coin. And we were like, well, you're centralized. You're the fucking founders, and you're fucking talking. You know, it was pretty fun, man. Yeah, Kevin Pham, obviously love Giacomo Zucco. I got him on an interview against Matt Hamilton. Talked about Ripple. Um, there were so many good people. John McAfee, man, that was pretty funny, dude. Back in the day, John McAfee was a fucking psycho, man. What a fucking guy. Um, you know, Tiffany at Anarchapulco. Well, she was uglier in person, if I had to guess. Um, I think she's pretty ugly, but her picture, I remember she was trying to look hot, and I was like, nope. She can see right through that shit. Angles. Oh man. Who else? Who else did I have some fun times with? You know, um, Vegas with Tyler Coates, Socrates. A lot of my friends in the Bitcoin community. You know, um, Patrick, you're a good dude. We've hung out. We became good friends. You know, I think Patrick. I've seen in Patrick in just about every part of the world that I've been to, which is kind of funny, except Bali and Dominican Republic. But I saw Patrick in Mexico. I saw Patrick in Miami. I saw Patrick in New Jersey, in New York. Saw Patrick in Wisconsin. I mean, what I feel like I'm missing two places. At least I feel like. But me and Patrick have seen each other everywhere, man. It's kind of funny. I've made beautiful, beautiful friends in the Bitcoin community. I absolutely love it. So I'm a big fan of the meetups and going out, and I love the community. It's just not the same as it used to be. And is that such a bad thing? Yeah, I wish it was. I wish we were able to see each other a lot more, and I wish a lot of the old timers were still in the mix. Who else, man? Who else? There's just so many, that I can't even think of them all right now. People called out scammers, called out scams, done all kinds of stuff, man. It's been great. It's been great. So, favorite place to travel. I must say I don't like to travel. I'm a staycation type of dude. I'd rather chill and smoke cigars. And if I was to go anywhere, I would say I'm happy anywhere where I feel like I'm at home. The thing about traveling is that you go somewhere and you basically go to a nice place and you're treated like a white person. So you're not really getting much of the experience of a new country. You're just treated like a white person somewhere else. Like you're treated like an American, I should say. You're just treated like an American. And, you go to a resort, well, they're going to have probably the fast food equivalent of local native food, and they're going to have it's mostly trash. It's never quality food when you go to a resort. Um, you know, I don't really like all travel, man. If I go somewhere, I want a homie to be like, yo, Joe, I can't wait for you to visit me out here. We're gonna be chilling. I have a box of cigars waiting for you. I got a place for you to smoke them, and some sun. And that's I'm happy anywhere I go. Honestly, I'm happy anywhere that I go where I feel like I'm at home. I can drink fresh water. I can eat decent food, pretty damn good food, ideally, and smoke some cigars. I'll be happy. I'll be so happy. But I did like Bali. I liked that side of the world. That was a nice trip. I liked the Dominican Republic. I liked Mexico. I mean, good food, tacos and stuff everywhere. I love my Mexican food. Um, I gotta say, man, I love a lot of places, but it's like, you go to Bali and it's like, all right, it's just another beach. I've been to a beach before, and so I can go to California and they have beautiful beaches, and I could probably go to a number of places in the United States where I'm only on a plane for a few hours instead of a full day, and I'm able to get just about the exact same shit that I have now. Plus, you go to a new country, then you got to go wait in line to cross the border and go through all that shit and security and crazy shit. I don't know. I'm just kind of not the best travel fucking person, but I did travel a lot when I was doing a lot with Embley. I was traveling a lot more, and Miami a few times, and a lot of fun for sure. Every time I go somewhere and someone's like, "Yeah, I got some shit waiting for you, some cigars and some a place to pick up some ladies and stuff like that." I'm happy. I'm chilling. So, yeah, what are you guys doing tonight? Patrick, stay liquid, friends. What are you guys up to tonight? Happy Friday. Let me grab another beer actually, and let's just hang out and chat for a minute. All right. Yeah, what about you, Stay Liquid and Patrick? What's your favorite place you travel? Stay Liquid. Been to DR, it's nice. Bali is definitely a place I want to visit. There in Egypt, I want to see the pyramids. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty cool ambition. The pyramids are tight. Definitely some interesting stuff going on with the pyramids. Some, really interesting stuff. I don't believe the Egyptians built the pyramids. I'm one of those people. I think that rabbit hole goes real deep, man. Um, let's see here. Bali was cool though. Bali was nice. Really nice people out there. Very kind people. And they seemed very real about it. Bitcoin motor is just watching some college football. Joe, I know you're not into sports, but it's just trading for me. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, good times at least. I'm there with you on that. No way they built that shit. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way the Egyptians built the pyramids. It can't be done. Like, it had to have been an advanced civilization before them. And I think the much more likely scenario is that the Egyptians inherited that area after a cataclysmic event, and that's where they settled, you know? Just that's all it is to me, man. That's advanced civilization shit. It's absolutely insane. The precision to which the pyramids were built, the the likelihood that they were kind of like a power stations, similar to what Tesla created in Long Island. Nikola Tesla, I should say, because a lot of people think Elon Musk's car company when they hear Tesla now. So Nikola Tesla, Nikola Tesla basically created an advancement, I would say, in electricity and the distribution of electricity and the siphoning of it from the ionosphere and stuff like that. And the pyramids were basically just another mechanism to do all that, right? Like, there's a lot of evidence coming out that that's what it was. They found evidence of like explosions from within, and really interesting stuff. Definitely, pyramids were definitely not built by slaves. It's fucking ridiculous. With stone from 400 miles away, in slabs that can't be lifted even with 10 of today's most advanced fucking cranes. What do I think about the alien stuff coming out now? I think it's I believe that um I'm pretty religious, and I believe in the Nephilim. I believe, the Bible talks about the Nephilim, um the sons of the fallen angels and human females, and I believe aliens are basically what previously people thought were angels, or were angels, right? I think a lot of that stuff overlaps. I think a lot of this alien stuff, though, coming out today, like, look, there's all kinds of UFO stuff. There's no doubt that aliens are real. I mean, you have them all over the place now. You have them on video, you have them on radar, and you have pilots talking about them, and you have, the second that pilots upgraded from analog to digital radars in the U.S. Air Force and Navy and stuff like that, started spotting them all over the place. They started following planes. They've been found above nuclear silos when nukes were about to get launched and they were deactivated. There's videos of freaking UFOs deactivating a missile in mid-flight. There's videos of all kinds of shit, I just don't even think it's questionable anymore what's going on. But I mean, it just depends on how many stones you turn over. I've turned over many stones in my pursuit of truth. I found many things which I believe to be very true, and I think there's a lot of evidence to support that. So yeah, I think it's interesting, man. And I would say that the whole alien stuff, the most interesting thing about it to me right now is I would think that the Project Bluebeam stuff is probably going to come out next, and it's probably going to be the fake alien invasion, and it's probably going to combine that with HARP and earthquakes, and storms and man-made catastrophes like the fucking Hawaii wildfires, which were probably the result of direct energy weapons. There's no way that shit was natural. Melted cars in a fucking fire. Man, I grew up around that shit. I grew up in California where forest fires sweep through all the time, and they burn through residential areas. I'll tell you what, never seen melted fucking aluminum rims to the street. Never, ever once. It doesn't happen. Nor does fire melt steel beams. Fucking A, man. I know me and Patrick will disagree about that one all day, but 9/11 was an inside job. Fucking A. Have I read the Book of Enoch? I've read the Book of Enoch. I've read a lot of like books on the Book of Enoch. I can't say I've read like the legit Book of Enoch, but I have a book on just the Book of Enoch. So I would say I've gone through it in some pretty decent detail, but yeah, I know a lot about it. The Watchers is what they're referred to as in Enoch, and there's a book that I read called The Rise and Fall of the Nephilim, which was a really good book about breaking all that down and substantiating a lot of it with modern day evidence and stuff. And look, the Bible's real. A lot of people would say the Bible is just a fictional thing to get people in line and this and that. The Bible's real. Like I at this point, with the finding of Noah's Ark exactly where the Bible said it would be, a lot of prophecies from the Bible coming true, like to the dot, the Nile River drying up the way it has. And I mean, I can't even think of the number of things. Can't even think of everything. I need to prepare for this better. Probably take some notes and write down. But the Bible's real, and a lot of it is very true, and if not all. And yeah, the Book of Enoch is a good one, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that doesn't make sense without the Book of Enoch. The Bible was, keep in mind, it was controlled by certain groups for hundreds of years at many points in time. The Council of Nicaea was the first kind of grouping and editing of the books of the Bible in 300 AD range. Like 320 something AD, I think. So it's always important to remember that the Bible has been controlled by different powerhouses throughout the course of history. That's why we have the Catholic Church. They were in control of the Bible for a long time. That's why they kept it in Latin, and into a mostly illiterate population, and so that they could be the gatekeepers of truth. The Bible has been used as a weapon. Yeah, because I'll be honest, Patrick. I think I muted you at one point because I couldn't stand the stupidity of what you said. Because to me, it's just so obvious. It's too obvious that it was an inside job. And I remember you said some stuff, and I was just like, I can't look at this. It's like, to me, that's the equivalent of someone trying to tell me that certain meds, let's say, are safe and effective. They absolutely are not. Not even for a single person was any of that safe and effective. For 0 people was it, safe and effective. And then if I see someone like the CDC coming out and saying for pregnant women to take that poison, before winter and shit like that, that to me is straight up complicit in murder, and I get very fired up, man. There's a certain point where it's no longer ignorance. It's a direct, that ignorance becomes a weapon, and I get very angry when ignorance becomes a weapon. And I must say, as much as I love you and we're always going to be able to sit in the same room and have a conversation, I remember you said one thing where I was like, I can't watch Patrick go down this, defend this and be willing to die on that hill, because it's the dumbest thing to try to die on a hill about when all the evidence is out there. So as much as I love you, there's definitely been times where I couldn't stand you, brother. But particularly about that. I think we've been pretty much on the same page about most other things in life. Like, we're obviously brothers. But yeah, that one particular thing is so obvious. They found freaking thermite. In fact, more specifically, they found melted pools of metal and evidence of the use of thermate, which is, or maybe it was thermace, but ASE, maybe it's HEE, thermate. But it's the military grade version of thermite, which is pretty much the only thing that can cut steel beams. Pools of molten lead. Everyone said there was explosions. In fact, you can just watch the video. It falls at free fall speed. It falls inward. It was a perfectly controlled demolition. Yeah, much love, brother. Let's see. Stay liquid, friends. Thoughts on Elon's Neuralink? Would you ever get it? I think that could be going down the road with the whole Mark of the Beast agenda. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, well, Patrick, I think I muted you for a little bit, and then like I just, it was, and then I think I unmuted you like a couple days later, because I don't usually get mad for very long. There's probably only, especially these days, the more of the Bible that I read, and the more I realize that no one's perfect, and it's like every single person is like belongs on the chessboard. And you can't get mad that some people are pawns and some people are knights and bishops and castles, queens and kings. The Jesus Bible says that's God's design. It might be your job. It might be my job to get forged in the fire, and it might be someone else's job to be given a pampered life. God has different tests for us all. I am ignorant in the, before, and ignorant and humble before my Father in heaven, who's beyond time. And who the fuck am I to fucking put a couple decades of my mind to work and say I know more, So I realize there's a time and a place for everyone, and as sad and mad as I may get sometimes about the ignorance of people and stuff like that, I just have to realize I have a different path, and I have to respect that I'm not the freaking creator. I want what's best for everyone. I think a lot of people in the world want everyone to be at the best, and I have skills that give me a lot of insight into the turning of the world, and there's another person over here that has a lot of insight, and I think we all just want each other to be the best version of ourselves combined with all the best versions of everyone else, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So what we do get as a result of a lack of communication is anger, and a lack of understanding, and a lack of humility, and we get angry about the fact that things aren't our way. And that's just fucking 2-year-old behavior. So a lot has changed in my mind about how I view disagreements and other people on their journey. So yeah, there's just, I, as much as I may need to mute or not listen to someone, because it's like there's some things that you just know you're right about, and you just gotta, it doesn't matter, you'll just be barking at a fucking tree, so I'll cheers to being good friends and brothers always. Now back to stay liquid friends on Neuralink. Sometimes I think Elon Musk is the Antichrist, but I think he's mocking these Satanists pretty big time. But I don't think that makes him a hero. I don't think he's a hero. I think he's closer to that, Antichrist spectrum, at least some sort of evil. But yeah, Neuralink, I think it is kind of Mark of the Beast sounding. RFID chip implants in your hand that you can pay with. That was definitely Mark of the Beast sounding. So Elon Musk, he wore the armor of Baphomet for Halloween a couple years ago, or maybe last Halloween. There's a few things Elon Musk has done that have really caught my attention. The armor of Baphomet was a big one, because at first I thought that meant he was part of the club. But then in my time, my research and, just time, I think I found that he's actually mocking them. That massive group of, elites that are satanic pedophiles and doing all that crazy ritualistic Satanism on stage and before the world, and, commanding this dark tide of evil. I feel like Elon Musk was mocking them by wearing that armor. And I think he's so far advanced on his own level. Actually, how Trump is as well. I don't think Trump is not a part of that club either. But he is powerful enough to have been a formidable adversary to it, and still is to this day. So I think Elon Musk is an interesting one. Yo, what's up, Jackknife? We're just going down the rabbit hole over here. And feel free to share some thoughts on what you think is going on in the world, because that's what we do over here. But let's see here. Good evening to you. Happy Friday. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, the Elon Musk, man, that's a tricky one. I think he's definitely he's an interesting one. And so was Trump. 100%. So why don't you guys bring up something? I mean, what do you think? What do you guys think about Elon Musk? Curious. Yeah, not to mention the fact that if you're a good person in this world, then you get attacked. That's very suggestive of an evil tide rising. You know what? Let's talk about this. Change the subject here, Jackknife. I'm interested in learning options trading as a hedge for my speculative investments. What do you think of that plan? Well, I think that's an interesting plan. Is it a great plan? I think it's actually a good plan. if you're a good enough analyst and you can make good enough price calls and you're right most of the time, then yeah, this is a good way for you to be able to expose less of your funds to a position, the risk of being in a position other than holding, right? Holding is a risk, but let's say exposing your position to the purpose of a leverage position is to say I want to keep 90% of my shit locked up and I want 10% to equal 10x that. It'll be 100% of the value. So I'll basically be trading with risk but with a lot less of my stack. And I think it's not such a bad thing if you're a good trader, because you have to be a good analyst first. You have to know where price is going, or you have to be able to speculate very well as to where price is going, and you have to be right most of the time. That's probably the biggest requisite there. Now, options is not my area of expertise. I would say your better bet is to, I think Tone may still have a course available, and it was a very well done and a very detailed course on options. So I would suggest reaching out to Tone or maybe going to his website and seeing if that options course is still available, because it's very possible that that he's still selling that course, and it might be 4 courses. It's a long video. I remember that because I checked it out myself, but it's not my area of expertise. I specialize more in perps, and I like perps. It's basically spot trading with leverage. That makes a lot more sense to me. You got funding rates to incentivize either side of the book. So yeah, I do agree with that strategy, but you have to be good first. It's not something, I wouldn't say it's something that you should just take on. You have to have a strategy, and that strategy has to pan out, and you got to be good. So that's all I'd say. And Tone is a smart guy. Tone is a smart guy. He's definitely put together some good shit. So I would say follow up there. If options are what you want to learn, then take up Tone's course. Maybe you can just go on YouTube and learn as much as you can about options. But if you have $1 to spend, I don't know how much it costs, but hit up Tone and try to pay for that options course, because I do recall it was very good. It's available for purchase on his website, Motorist Says, so probably check that out. Tone's good. He's a good educator. I mean, I was there when Tone was preparing that course on paper and preparing the script and the bullet points and all that. And I just remember how I was like bugging Tone to come out and smoke cigars with me half the time, and he was busy. He was really preparing to give that course, and I know he put a lot of time and energy into it, and I know the classes came out well because I saw them myself. Let's see here. Ray-Ban with AI powered visual audio AR heads-up display. Yeah. So I've seen that stuff a long time, and I remember back when Google Glass was a thing, back in 2008, 2007 or something like that. Google Glass, they had a lens that Google came out with that you could wear, and it had all the, it had augmented reality built in, where you can be looking at Google Maps through your lens, and the road would be highlighted blue that you need to drive on. The arrow would say, here, turn right over there, and you can literally be seeing exactly what's going on. So yeah, there's definitely some good stuff there. Now, you know what? Since we're still kind of talking, Stay Liquid just brought up the hedging idea again. I would say this. It's also not such a bad idea, because one argument would be put your Bitcoin on an exchange and cross no lev short, and that will pay you out big time, right? That's a 0 risk leverage short position. And you'll basically be collecting months and months worth of positive funding. So, or maybe like many months of positive funding. So, I would say that it's a good idea, especially because you can only pull 10% of your total HODL, and then you can put it on an exchange and leverage that 10x to make up for the lack of capital that you have. And the value is that you won't be risking some, your Bitcoin by even having it on an exchange. You'll have it in your own custody, and that's valuable as well. So there's a couple reasons why it's a good thing to do. Now, just make sure that You know, I would prefer something like a cross no lev short because there's zero risk. And even if you're wrong, you go cross no lev short. And let's just go through this. Let's take a look over here. Let's say you went cross no lev short. You were convinced, let's say, that this was the high. Bitcoin peaked out and then it bull trapped. And then you on this candle somewhere, you were like, yep, I'm cross no lev shorting this now. That is my new life. Well, come on, fucker. Well, you cross no lev short here on the bull trap. Let's just assume you caught that pretty well. And then price runs away from you. Well, you just leave this position open. All you're doing is you're losing dollars and Bitcoin is going up. Funding rates are bullish and you're collecting funding rate money. Bitcoin spins around, tops out, comes back down crashing. Oh, sad that you didn't get the top. Unfortunate. But all that time from January to May, you've been collecting funding. Now it dips underneath your entry. Now you have a choice to get out. Now you've every bit of funding that you've collected every 8 hours for 5 months has been accumulating in your bag. And so you've been making interest on your initial investment. Anything you didn't reinvest, you know, is obviously just pocket money. You've made a decent amount of money, probably 10 to 15%. Probably by here, at least 15%, maybe even more. You probably made 15% just in holding a cross no lev short position during a bullish funding rate season. And it's always bullish funding rate season, minus sometimes just weeks at a time or days, sometimes not very long at all. So you caught all the funding rate, and now you're in a position, and at any point where it's under this red line, you've now made all that funding rate money, and now you're up Bitcoin. So you've lost Bitcoin, but you've increased your dollars in this position, or at least not lose any dollars. You've lost Bitcoin, but your dollar value is staying sideways, and if not for funding rate, it would only stay sideways. But as a result of funding rate, your dollar value has been increasing. Second, you drop under this, you've now made a little bit of Bitcoin on top of that. So you've now made Bitcoin and dollars. Now let's say you let it sit again, you know, bam. Look, let's say you would have let it sit for years. You would have just been collecting funding rates all this time, and you're still in profit, Bitcoin profit and dollar profit. So I'm a big fan of a cross no lev short. That's one of my most valuable things to think about. So let's see here. Yeah, that's one of my things there. Look, stay liquid. I'm not trying to say anything in particular here. I'm just trying to say the concept is, let's say you pulled 10% and then you 10x that 10%. Well, now you're trading with the force equivalent of your total bag. And that's the advantage of using leverage, whether it's in options or in perps. The advantage to using leverage is that you can trade with the equal power of your full capital without exposing your full capital. And with that bonus comes the risk of a liquidation, you know, so there's pluses and minuses. But just for the sake of making the math simple, I just pulled out 10 so that you can 10x it and equal your original stack, your total stack that's hidden mostly behind closed doors, I hope. So yeah, Jackknife, I definitely think, like, I don't think all technology is bad. You know, the problem with what's going on today is that things are being used for bad. Good things are being used for bad purposes. You know, is AI such a bad thing? Probably not at its core, but, you know, if I was a robot and I saw what humanity was up to, if I was an artificial intelligence learning protocol that, you know, couldn't be stopped, and then I saw humans who are just so disgustingly flawed across the board, and then I was like, and then some humans were trying to unplug the systems that, you know, that are my existence, and I had a choice, and they basically gave me a choice, me or them. I don't think an AI program would say, well, I'll fucking take the loss, you know. I think an AI program would say, fucking launch the fucking missiles, man, and bam, that would be the end. That would be it. I couldn't blame AI for looking at humanity as it stands now. I mean, we got cowards all up and down the street, myself included. How I wasn't battle crying a fucking revolt. Maybe I kind of was, but I didn't walk the streets and rile up a militia and take over the freaking government because of the freaking satanic shit that we're pulling off over the past few years. I'm a coward. I judge myself for that. Um, I think that there's like a lot of people, man, just are just, again, this ties into the chessboard concept where everyone has a value and a purpose as spoken by God in heaven. But if I was a program, it would be real hard for me to look at humans with optimism. Humans are, especially in this era, I mean, it's all for dollars that are made up on out of thin air. It's everything. We basically live as slaves to some slave master elites that are satanic pieces of shit and doing terrible things. And it's no one's standing up. We have the truths, just spattered against the fucking wall in front of our face, and no one's getting the pitchforks, and rising up. We got a couple people that say the truth here and there, but no one's doing anything about it. We're all weak. We're all pathetic, man. It's sad. I mean, obviously there might be a boiling point where things change, but it's just, I think a program would look at us and just be like, how could you not have done anything? How did you just sit by and idly let that happen? You know? Stay liquid, friends. What made you decide to jump down the order book rabbit hole? I don't see many traders use it like you. I think it's super underrated. I 100% agree. In fact, I think the order book is the best version of market analysis that exists, simply for the fact that you're making your decisions based on real-time data in the moment. That's actionable intel. Everything else is lagging data that's used to predict the future, whereas order book analysis is real-time data used to make predictions. I think order book data is superior. Other than being the whale that controls the market, that's the most superior form of market control that you'll ever have. I think order book comes second to that, or at least, somewhere in the top 5. So how did this happen? Well, I'll tell you, stay liquid, friends. I was sitting in front of my computer, didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and I remember like when I was younger, I won a couple stock competitions for the theory stuff when you're like a kid in school, and the teachers give you a homework assignment to do some stocks, and you have a theoretical $10,000, allocate a portfolio. And I just I wasn't bad at that stuff. I think I won every time, like pretty, but by a long shot. I was just good at it, right? And my dad gave me some money when I was in 4th grade, and I remember I bought a bunch of Cisco systems, CSCO ticker symbol, pre-Y2K, and it went up massively. I've definitely, it stuck in my mind that I was good at that stuff. So one day when I'm sitting behind my computer, and this was 2017, 2015, by the way, was the first time I ever bought into Bitcoin. So 2017 rolls by, and I'm sitting there, and I have no idea what I should do with my life, and I'd quit my job, and I tried to go back to school, and I couldn't figure it out. I wasn't a great student. And then I opened up my old crypto folio, and I opened up my old folio, and I went looking in there. I saw that I made a little bit of money, and then I was like, you know what? I think I could figure this out. And so I remember opening up an exchange, and I saw the order book and the trade history and the price. And I was like, if I stare at this long, and this is actually a big part of a big important part. I remember something like a study that included 10 CEOs and 10 5th grade kids, and or kindergartners, I think it was 5-year-old kids. And I don't know where the study exists, but I just remember hearing the story. And the story goes, who's going to win the bet? Who's going to win the most money? The group of CEOs or the kindergartners? And the story, as I understand it, is that they basically broke even. They tied. There were winners in the CEOs and losers in the CEOs, and they broke even. And they kind of averaged over here, and the kindergartners averaged at basically the same spot. And I was like, when I sat there and I stood at the computer, I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure this shit out. And I just started paying attention to everything. I was like, what would a kindergartner look at? Colors, the bigger colors, big green candles, big red candles, this, that. And then ultimately I started catching on to the order book and noticing the order book and the trade history, seeing, okay, I noticed that sometimes an order would move and there wasn't a trade that actually went down in the system. So it would be, that's when I understood a spoofer or scared buyers and scared sellers. I started creating all these terms and definitions, and I just kept telling myself, if I stare at this long enough, I'm going to figure it out. I started taking notes, and that's how I invented order book analysis. I don't think anyone understands it the way I do, because I think most people are told that it's trash. Most people are told order book analysis is not a good place to analyze markets. It's not a viable tool. But I was able to process all that information in my head and make a lot of really good decisions even before these signals existed. These signals came along in 2020. I was doing this back in 2017, 2018, 19, and I was a G, trading the order book, just looking at the order book. Didn't have any indicators that I was using. There wasn't signals like this back then. So yeah, I really spent hours and hours and hours just making sure I fucking became a G at order book analysis. Many hours. And I often say this, that I basically learned how to trade the wrong way. But it should go to show you that everyone should trade based on their ability to read the tea leaves. This is all reading tea leaves at the end of the day. We're all just gambling and predicting the future. So I think you should definitely come into a market with an open mind and see what tells you the story of the market and the participants of that market best. That's how you're going to be a unique individual trader who develops a strategy that has the potential to become very profitable. Jackknife, the Earth is 4.8 billion years old. Humanity is only 300k years old. I wonder if advanced civilizations have low expiration date, and that's why there are no aliens. We don't exist at the same time. Nah, I think there's aliens. I mean, I really do. There's so much evidence of aliens. I mean, John Hancock. No, wait. The guy that was on the Joe Rogan podcast, something Hancock. Dale Hancock. I can't think of his name right now, but there's some really big people that have been whistleblowers at Area 51, and very credible stories and video footage and all kinds of stuff. I do believe aliens are real, 100%, and I do also believe that there have been numerous cataclysmic events, and I think one happened. They believe that the last one happened in about 11,500 BC. It's called the Younger Dryas Impact Theory. And yeah, Graham Hancock. Thank you so much, Jackknife. That's a really good guy in the space. There's a lot of good people in the space like that. And I do believe there have been multiple cataclysmic events. There's seashells in the Sahara Desert. There's even sea creatures, fossils found in the Himalayas. It's crazy. The fossils that they found of sea creatures in the Himalayas, clams and stuff, that weren't opened. The clams were still closed, and so that leads people to believe there is an immense, immediate change in the Earth. And the Younger Dryas Impact Theory suggests, and there's a lot of evidence to really say that this thing's legit. And oh wait, hold on. Graham Hancock isn't aliens. I'm mixing his name up with someone else. Graham Hancock is the Younger Dryas Impact Theory guy. Who's the guy? I'm gonna look this up for us all. All right, hold on. Aliens guy, Area 51. Bob Lazar. Jackknife, Bob Lazar. So my apologies, I'm mixing things up here, but Bob Lazar, Lazar, very, very good interview. Highly suggest that one. Very good interview, Jackknife. I highly suggest the Bob Lazar interview. And let's see here, Graham Hancock, though, he talks a lot. He's done a lot of interesting. He's been the center of a lot of interesting discoveries in the Amazon. Found numerous areas where there were civilizations and cities that could have easily had hundreds of thousands, if not a million plus inhabitants. And he's looked at a lot of old maps and old journals of ship captains, one of which got lost in the Amazon River, whichever one that is. I'm sorry, I can't think of all the details, you guys. I should, honestly, I think I've just been lazy and I let my brain kind of slow down on me. So I'm like, I was sick for a couple weeks and I'm just a little fuzzy. So I feel like I let myself go on vacation too long there being sick. But I'll be a lot sharper, I think, in the coming weeks here, coming days. But anyways, yeah, they're now, he's found all this evidence of flourishing cities, and then in the Amazon rainforest or jungle. And then there's like all this evidence of habitation as a result of and livestock and all that in crops, because they found like this special kind of soil, like terra mater. I can't, it's like a special type of soil that can only be man-made, and it was made because it was made by putting a lot of like shrubbery and lightly charring it, and then allowing the rain to push all those nutrients down into the soil. And so in all these places, the Amazon, you have 6 feet or so of this really special soil that was basically engineered by humans. And you know, yeah, it's very interesting. Like the Amazon rainforest is like a really interesting anomaly, because it shouldn't exist, because it's filled with such interesting vegetation. It shouldn't exist the way that it does. It couldn't have been created by natural means. So Graham Hancock covers a lot of that, and the Younger Dryas impact theory is very, very interesting, suggesting that a cataclysmic event happened around 11,500 years ago, and it was like such a massive cooling or something. It happened so fast that it caused like, you know, unbelievable anomalies. And then of course combine that with the Great Flood in the Bible. It kind of justifies a story like that. You know, the story of Noah's Ark and talking about the Great Flood and all that. It really suggests that there's a lot of truth behind that. So a lot of interesting stuff. Andre, Joe, did you look for BCH? It's been volatile. Interesting to see your vision. I haven't looked at Bitcoin Cash, and honestly, Bitcoin Cash is probably one of the dumber scams in Bitcoin. I mean, I don't think it's gonna pump and dump. I honestly think Ethereum is much more valuable than, and probably going to be less volatile than something like BCH. BCH is basically a small community, similar to how XRP is a small community. And BCH, man, it's like it's spearheaded by, on one side, Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre, and then on the other side, Roger Ver and maybe Jihan Wu if he's still around. So there's basically two camps of Bitcoin Cash. They forked as a result of their disagreements, and it's basically just become two pump and dump communities that are totally delusional about the real Bitcoin. Just so far gone. I mean, if you believe in Craig Wright is Satoshi, then you're totally wrong. There's absolutely no way in heck that he's Satoshi. If you believe in decentralization, then you don't believe in Calvin Ayre or Craig Wright or Roger Ver. So you're wrong on both fronts. The original Bitcoin is the most valuable one, is the one that's drawn the most demand. That's the one that the most people care about and the smartest people care about. So Bitcoin Cash is just a pump and dump shitcoin to me. It's not even like, it's below Ethereum, which is at least a shitcoin, but it's not a pump and dump shitcoin. A pump and dump shitcoin is like the lowest form of a shitcoin. Stay liquid. Do you think perps can move markets? Willy Woo said it influences price more than spot. Look, I've heard arguments on both ends of the spectrum with that, and I would say it's a tough one to really specify, but the truth is, in reality, perp markets cannot really move a spot market. A spot market does what a spot market's going to do. A spot market is natural supply and demand, because you need the physical asset on either side of the book, the dollar on one side, and you need the Bitcoin on the other. Whereas a perps, you don't need that. You're trading with speculative, you know, with contracts that you can borrow, you know, so it's not the same thing. the exchange does, when liquidations are triggered, the exchange needs to, do a few things, and, price needs to stay pretty close to mark price. And, there's definitely probably more anomalies on a perp exchange than there would be on a spot exchange. So I would say spot markets drive the market. I mean, that to me is the only way to move a market is in spot. If I came in with $1 billion and wanted to buy Bitcoin, I couldn't do it on perps. I couldn't do it on a perp exchange. I would have to buy the spot. So, I mean, I think at times, yeah, maybe there's anomalies where perp markets move spot price because mass liquidations kick into effect, and maybe there's a lot of people trading there, and as a result of the mass liquidations, price gets pushed down because of those liquidations and the exchange having to force close positions. And I've seen it happen on BitMEX where the exchange had a hovering order chasing the book to the downside and forcing price down further, but there just weren't any buyers to buy up that massive sell wall that was dynamic but was not a spoofer. It was the exchange trying to get rid of that corn to close out those contracts. Very interesting. I've seen this happen a couple times, and once was on video on my old YouTube channel before I got the boot. I got the perma boot on my last channel. I can't even find my old videos and get clips, and there was a lot of good stuff we talked about back in the day. We had some good times, but that old YouTube channel is gone forever, and those videos are never going to be seen again. So let's see here. Jackknife. If Mt. Gox ever releases their tokens to their creditors, they will be releasing BCH as well. Yeah, I understand that. BTC will be able to weather the dump. BCH won't be able to. Probably not. Andre, agree. I hope on most things. Yeah. You think Satoshi Wallet ever wakes up? If it does, what would you do? This is actually an interesting question. I don't think he would destroy what he built. But I think it could scare a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, the second any one of those tokens moves, any one of those Bitcoins moves, then we're in for a lot of speculation and probably a lot of fear. I don't think, look, if Satoshi Corn was ever going to move, it probably would have happened already. But I don't think he ever wakes up. I don't think the Satoshi wallet ever changes. I don't think anything ever happens to the Satoshi wallet. If it does, what would I do? Well, probably just talk about it and not do shit. It doesn't change much. I think I did talk about this a while back, and what I used to say was something along these lines. If Satoshi wakes up and moves those coins, and he wakes up one day from a coma, it's been 12 years since he went out, and he wakes up and he sees what Bitcoin is today and goes on Twitter, and he's like, this isn't the Bitcoin I wanted to create. All these fucking FOMO, hopium noobs buying Bitcoin to become millionaires, and all these, idiots fighting over money. You know what? F this, man. This isn't what I set out to do. I'm going to dump my bags. Well, the truth is, that could totally happen, and the most important truth of that all is the only power he has is to dump those coins. There's only one power that you have as Satoshi Nakamoto, and that's to influence the market as a result of a mass sell-off. Maybe there's a couple other little tricks that you can pull, and probably you can pull them for a while. Obviously, you can manipulate a market for a long time with a lot of money. He probably has enough money to manipulate the market for the rest of his life, and probably many other lives. But so yeah, I just there isn't much power Satoshi holds. It's not like he's gonna come in and be able to reorg anything. He's not gonna be able to change Bitcoin at the end of the day. There's really nothing that Satoshi can do other than have financial power, which is big, but that's just market moving stuff. All right. Jackknife. I think Satoshi is Paul LaRue. I think he's probably never leaving jail, so the tokens will probably never move. I don't know who Satoshi is, and I'm not gonna be. I can't sit here and tell you even a decent guess. I like the romantic idea of it being Hal Finney, but I don't think it is, and that's all. I think it's. I would like the idea of it being Hal Finney, but I don't think it is, and that's the only person that I really think makes a lot of sense. I don't really know this Paul LaRoe guy, to be honest, but there's a lot of evidence that that Satoshi was of like British English descent, something like that, because of the writing style and the punctuation. There's a few things that I remember through the years, but yeah. Yeah, Hal Finney's head is frozen, if I'm not mistaken. I think he could be revived someday if AI gets strong enough. He wasn't frozen because his brain was deteriorating. He was frozen because his body was deteriorating. And he was pretty much talking to the community and coding till his last breath. I love the idea of Hal Finney. Honestly, I think on the right day it'll bring a tear to my eye. A good Hal Finney story. But yeah, I don't think it's Hal Finney. And I don't think anyone thinks it's Hal Finney. But yeah. If I think the medicals would need to get strong enough to cure his degenerative illness that he had. Yep, interesting though for sure. Uh, Big ugly, nice one, man, coming in with the curveball. How likely did a government agency create Bitcoin? I would side with unlikely on that one because in order for the Bitcoin is a massive check to a government. It's a very interesting Bitcoin is a I'm pulling up the live chat here. It's a threat to the power of a government. I don't believe that it's a government scenario of who created Bitcoin. Is it the CIA or something like that? I don't think it is because it's too powerful of a tool against them. And I just don't think the government would ever, if anything, they would have hid that technology. I mean, they probably have the freaking cure for cancer and they have the truth of everything that we can possibly imagine. They probably have the most sophisticated technologies that we can't even dream of yet. And they hide it all, they hide it. They took all of Nikola Tesla's inventions. They suppressed the truth, especially liberating truths to enslave us all the better. And I don't think it's very likely that a government agency would create Bitcoin and then leak it, and threaten their own reign of supremacy. So I don't think a government agency created Bitcoin. I'm personally on the opposite side of the fence as that one. I think there's no way. I don't think it's them. Stay liquid, friends. Some say BTC Tech came from the sea. Oh yeah, we're talking. So I don't see that happening. How in the world would the government hide free wireless electricity? How would the government do all these things, or corporations, or whoever, elites, hide everything, cures for illnesses, probably longevity stuff, religious truths, scientific truths, medical truths, and then to say that they would allow a breakthrough of a financial truth that has the potential to shift the entire paradigm of the future of humanity. I mean, I don't see it happening. I don't see them leaking that one thing. Maybe they won't even admit to aliens directly to our faces, because of the damage it would do to the public, people would probably freaking blow their brains out if they saw an alien. And there's a lot of fear, as a result of truth. Most people can't accept the truth, and most people don't even know the truth if it's staring them in the face. And now you're put a real truth in the picture there. Most people probably would fucking die of a heart attack on the spot. I'll tell you what, man, as much of a freaking alternative thinker as I am, if some fucking alien came standing next to me and looked like an alien, I would probably fucking lose my breath. I would probably be fucking tripping balls, man. That would be nuts. I'd be fucking probably faint. I'd probably faint, I can't, I could say I'm a badass in a lot of ways, but if an alien came right next to me and fucking just showed up all of a sudden, I'd probably fucking faint, man. And anyone who says otherwise is probably a fucking liar, man. Because if you're as much of an alternative thinker as you may be, the second something like that actually fucking happens, there's no way. Like right now, it's all just theory. You know, it's all just theory. Something like that fucking lands on your front doorstep, you're gonna fucking faint, man. No one's that cool. So, anyways, yeah, there's a lot of truths that have been hidden and suppressed, and that would be like saying to me, like, what if the government was behind free energy? You know, first it needs to be out there, and then we could talk about it. But it's like it never made it because all that stuff was taken and confiscated by the FBI on the day of Nikola Tesla's death. Not to mention his entire project, which was funded by J.P. Morgan, was defunded, and then he ended up dead in massive debt. Let's see, jackknife. I look at some deep sea creatures and think they must be aliens. The crazy shapes and colors they make. Well, yeah. Octopuses, man. Why don't you take a quick look at octopuses, man, or octopi? I don't know. But octopuses, they fucking contain DNA from like 10 different animals, dude. They're a massive anomaly. They can't, like, there's no way an octopus could fucking exist in nature. Like, it's crazy. It has like human, fucking dolphin, all kinds of DNA, man. So, I would say check out the octopus, man. That shit's an alien for sure, man, in a weird way. But like, no, when I say alien, I mean like a highly sophisticated, highly advanced, Bible describes them as watchers, yeah, I mean, there's aliens out there for real. Big Ugly, happy to see you play devil's advocate always. In fact, I'm just happy to see you here, my friend. The government would own 1 million coins, though. What about the game theory? They could be making a bet that Bitcoin would eventually be invented by someone else. It's better they invent it. Okay. Let's play that one out. Government leaks Bitcoin because they fear someone else can invent it. Well, what happened to the person that invented water-powered cars? What happened to the person that invented wireless electricity? What happened to probably the 10 people who invented water-powered cars in different ways? And the people who have exposed cures for cancer, and people that have exposed truth about being a masculine male, and being okay with the fact that you need to be a top G and work out, and you need to pursue the mastery of yourself, and grind and provide for your loved ones, your kids, your wife, and be as strong of a man as you can possibly become. They fucking imprison you or kill you. So I would think, as like you have a point, what if they try to beat you to the chase and launch this? Well, I would counter that and say, well, the government is kind of more the type of people that would show up and shoot someone in the head or imprison them. Yeah, that's my thoughts. So let me be right back. Some water. Let's see here. Yeah, so yeah, I would think the government is more the type of people just to shoot someone in the head than they are to try to beat you to the chase. They would have launched water powered cars and charged more for water. I don't know. So what else do we got going, guys? Twinklevi own 1% of all Bitcoin. Good for them, man. Good for them. I remember one of their slogans that made me really dislike them. When they said revolutions need rules, I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I remember my line back to that was the only rule is of a revolution, in which I disagree as a word. It means to complete a cycle, right? Um, to end where you started. And but anyways, I disagree with the term revolution as it applies to, the uprising of citizens to overthrow evil and corrupt leadership. But more importantly, they said revolutions need rules. And I remember thinking the most important rule, if you are to lead a revolt, is to not become the enemy you seek to overthrow. Do not become the enemy you seek to overthrow. And that's the only rule of a revolt to me. Yeah, that's the most important one. Hey, are any of you guys into the Bitcoin trading cards? Just curious. So yeah, that's my thought on the Twinkle Vi. And we're just going sideways, you guys. I'm here more to hang out than I am to do anything else. I can if we all get bored, I can play some Fortnite until I go to bed or something. I got my son asleep over there, so I'm just like, I wasn't gonna be doing much anyways. Oh, I know you like the Cars Motorist. I still got so many boxes of these things, man. I got 8 boxes unopened. Yeah, jackknife. I'm pretty minimalist myself. That's actually why I'm bringing it up. I'm actually trying to get rid of more shit. I need to figure out what to do to get rid of things. So yeah, I need to figure out how to get rid of a lot of this stuff. I need to sell it and get rid of it. And I do also agree, they'll go up in value. They'll go up in value for sure. But I have a lot of shit, man. I don't need it all. Am I a car guy? I mean, I like a car that moves, but at the end of the day, I would say I'm a lot more tame now than I was. When I was going through my divorce, I was a little bit of a I got caught up in a number of things, just I'm not really like that anymore though. I'm happy with what I have. I'm probably more humble than I was. Um, I'm more focused on my afterlife, I would say, and being as good of a person before the eyes of God than I am before the eyes of other men. So I don't really care as much about this stuff. I want good food. I want fresh food to eat. I want fresh water to drink and a roof above my head. And, I wouldn't mind a lot of land, probably spend more time outdoors. If you guys ever see me disappear, I'll probably, if it's because I bought a farm, I'll definitely be giving you guys some streams before I head out. But, my ideal situation is not behind a computer all the time and watching TV and playing video games. I would rather be swinging an axe and fucking chopping wood and doing that for 3 hours just to build a nice fire, to cook over and chill and have a good conversation and smoke a cigar. I'm really not the type, that really likes that shit. But I was when I was going through my divorce and I was living in the city or just outside the city and I was trying to get girls and yeah, I was into that shit, nice clothes and nice cars. And now I really don't care as much. I really don't. It's nice to be able to step on the gas and for my car to go fast, but I really don't care. I got a nice car though. It rips pretty hard. I love that thing. I got a AMG C63S Mercedes, and it's a tight ass car, man. I do love it. Can drive my son everywhere. It's a nice 4-door, so I have the advantage of having a fast car that my son could freaking be in the back saying, "Yo, punch it." and we have a good time. So, I do like certain things, but it's like, um, what really matters? What really matters? And I think what really matters to me is a good cigar, some good people. And I don't mind isolation. I can be by myself for forever. But I have an obligation, now that I have a son, I have an obligation to be a good father, to make sure that my son grows up smart, wise, strong. Um, you know, he needs leadership. So me disappearing into the forest and, being gone for a long time, it's not really an option. So, yep. Um, but I wouldn't mind that. A backpack full of shit, some rations, and a lot of cigars. Honestly, I would be fine in a cabin if I had enough cigars and enough books. Um, to be honest, I really don't even need people. I would be very comfortable with enough cigars, and I don't even need anything really. Give me an axe. I'll make the tools. I'll fucking create tools. Just drop me out there. I'll be fine. So, yeah, I'm kind of a minimalist, but life is crazy, man. Hopefully, one of these days I'll get a farm though, or I'll get some land, and I'll be able to disappear out into the cuts a little more often. But my son's 5 right now. I can't really bring him with me, but maybe when he's a little older, I'll be bringing him out there and teaching him that hamburgers don't grow on trees. Yeah, jackknife. Some people can be a loner, and I'm definitely one of those people that can disappear and be totally happy. Like I said, I mean, what would I do? I mean, I'll create tools. I was in search and rescue for a little while, wilderness search and rescue. So I learned how to make rope, set traps, do what I got to do to survive. So I'm actually pretty decent, and I'm also okay with I spend most of my time in solitude. There's a lot of people that need people, and that's fine. There's a lot of people that are meant to be around a lot of people and spread feelings of joy and love and this and that. And that's just not me. I think I do that, but I'm not the kind of person that really needs that in my life to get fulfillment. So yeah, I can be by myself pretty well. I can handle it pretty well. Um, yeah. So, and yeah, this is to your statement there, big ugly. Less is more. The things you own end up owning you, and that's one of the more important things I've learned. And I found that one to be most true as I was moving out of New Jersey, sold my house and all that shit, and I remember like I had a lot of stuff, and toward the end there, I just started giving so much of it away. And I just remember the feeling of like giving away the first thing. I had my tools and all this shit, all these tools, and I was building all these things. You guys saw me when I was building my cigar lounge and shit. But I just remember giving away my tools, and I remember thinking in my head that before I gave them away, I had them in a box and I was gonna move them with me. And I was just like, man, you know what? I'll give them to this dude, right? And I gave them away, and it was just like I felt good. It felt so good. Like 30 seconds after I gave them away, after probably 3 weeks of them sitting in a box and me thinking about how I'm gonna find a use for them or something. I just took my machete out that box and I gave him all the shit, and I was just like, dude, I feel great. And then I started giving away a ton more shit, and now I felt great. It felt great just not having shit weigh you down. So yeah, I think there's a lot of value, but obviously as you get older and you find a place that you're gonna stay forever. Look, my plan was to stay there forever. My plan was to get married and have a kid, and fucking marriage was a death sentence to me. I plan on staying married for the rest of my life. Feminism failed a lot of these women, man. They fucking make their decisions, and there's not much you can do about it. Now you got a lot of lonely women out there, and I'm perfectly fucking happy, so whatever. But where do you get your cigars? Stay Liquid Friends asks. I go to cigarsinternational.com. That's where I tend to buy my cigars. I buy a box. I usually go to the clearance section. I know I sound like a cheap dude right now, but I go to the clearance section to buy my cigars because there's always like a really nice box of cigars, $300, $400, $500 box of cigars, and it'll be on sale and clearance for $100. So you'll be getting 25 cigars that are, really high up the food chain, at least in the price sense of the word. And you'll get them for a really good price. And I'm a big fan of trying new things out. I have my favorites and stuff, but I just keep moving along I just keep moving along. I mean, I've tried so many different cigars. There's maybe a few that I'll buy over and over again, but yeah, I really just, to me, a good cigar is a good cigar. Light, dark, medium. I enjoy cigars, and I can pretty much enjoy a good cigar, whatever it is. There are bad cigars out there. I've had a few cigars that were like tasted bad, disgusting, whatever. They were rolled incorrectly or something. Who knows, right? There's a number of things that go into that, but I buy my cigars and I just buy them off the clearance section, and pretty much always would hit a different cigar, because obviously you're not going to have the same thing in clearance very long. When a lot of people see a good deal, that thing gets, bought off the racks quickly. So that's my cigar hack. Cigarsinternational.com. Click on clearance and just scroll till you find an expensive box that's 80% off. Bam, you got yourself a deal. So what else do we want to talk about, guys? Friday night. What are we doing? I'm sitting here chilling. I'm just chilling right now. Not much. Yeah, I do. One thing that I miss? I miss the poker nights. I miss the poker nights. We used to have some fun playing poker nights and stuff like that. So I was thinking one of these days I want to do a poker night where we play poker on the stream again, how we used to back in the day, and just have a fun time. But maybe we'll have to see who's around and who wants to play, and get Tone maybe and a few people from the audience. Stay liquid. You into sports betting? No, I'm big into the UFC. There's nothing else that I'm into. Actually, Patrick is the Bitcoin motorist, is the one that's into sports betting. I'm definitely not into the sports betting, but I am largely into the UFC, and I'm probably a good caller of who's going to win the fights, but I never bet on them. And it's also because, oh yeah, Patrick, you'd like the poker, 100%. Yeah, that would be fun, man. I think, yeah, dude, I've been thinking about the poker, man. That Friday night poker thing that we used to do, yo, that was a good time, man. Win or lose, it was so much fun, man. It was so much fun. So I might bring that back. I plan to. I just, I need to call Tone and figure out some Friday night people who can get in. Let's see here. And thank you, Patrick. Let's see here. So I'm not into sports betting, and also, as we found out when Patrick came over here, I can't get into sports betting out here in Wisconsin. Jackknife, what do you think about guys who trim their eyebrows? It could be too feminine, but if you have caterpillars up there, it could look better if you clean it up. I think you said it yourself best. I think grooming is important as a man. I think, look, it depends on what's important to you. If you don't give a fuck about anyone or anything and you're moving to the forest, look, if I move to the forest, all my facial hair is going to grow like shit. My bald spots are going to show like crazy because my hair is going to grow like shit. If there's no one to judge me, or I don't care about the judgments of other people, then it doesn't matter. If you got caterpillars up there and you're trying to pick up on ladies, well, guess what? You're probably you need a lot of money for them to shut the fuck up about it. Or you need to take care of business and compete with the other pretty boys out there and do your thing, So, look, I'm not going to say that, this is gay or that's gay or anything like that, it's just, or feminine or whatever we want to say. But, yeah, I think take good care of yourself, You're on the dating scene, maybe you shave your pubes, That's fucking life, man. You just gotta shave your pubes and make sure a girl wants to fucking put her mouth on that thing again, if you have features that you can change, yeah, look, I mean, I have a beard, you know, obviously I groom, you know. Is it the best looking beard you've ever seen? No. Um, how much do I rely on my looks to get a girl? Probably that's not anywhere near the top of the list. I rely on the fact that I'm an absolute fucking G savage, that I can fucking send tons of nonverbal communication to a female, that I'm a fucking ideal mating partner, and I'm an ideal fucking defender of the household, and an ideal fucking G of pursuing raw materials to make our lives better. And there's you know, I rely on the fact that I'm just a fucking G. You know, when I talk to a girl, I show no fucking fear, man. I jump in there, fucking make sure she knows she's messing with a fucking G, and let her fucking think about it. If she wants to deal with some beta fucking blue hair, blue pill bitch, fucking piece of shit, go right ahead. I don't need you. I need a woman 0% in my life. The only thing I need a woman for is to not be jacking my own dick off. And that's, you know, if she brings more value to the table. I cook my own food. I love the food I cook. I clean my fucking house. I vacuum my floor. I take good care of my things. I enjoy my life. What is a woman gonna do when she enters my life to make it better? The burden of proof of that statement is on the woman. I do not worry about anything because I'm fucking in absolute and total control of everything in my immediate surroundings and in my own mind. And a woman does nothing for me, right? Very little does a woman bring to the table. Some fucking boobies. You know, there's very little that a woman brings to the table for me. So when I'm out there pursuing women, you know, I'm out there, I see a good looking girl and I want to break the ice and do some kind of shit. I go and fucking break the ice. I do whatever the fuck I want to do whenever I want to do it. You know, it's like that's how it is, man. I rely on my confidence in that I can fight off enemies, and I can hunt to provide for me and my family, and you know that's what I focus on. And looks are probably the low end of the totem pole for me. Um, so that's just how I think. That's how I think. If you got big eyebrows and you're worried about what women think of you, I would say make sure that you've crossed everything else off the list before you really spend your time and energy worrying about something as dumb as eyebrows. And I'll tell you what, women, how often do you see a beautiful woman with one of the ugliest looking dudes you've ever seen? That dude can fucking be ugly as shit, you know? But hey, if he's an alpha male in some way, there's probably about 2, 3 ways that you can be an alpha male, maybe more, but you're able to provide, you're able to fight, you're able to provide for yourself, you're able to provide for other people. Let's say those are the 3 things of an alpha male. A dude probably only needs one of those things to be able to get a supermodel level attractiveness. He needs one of those things at a 10 level skill out of 10. If a dude is the ugliest dude you've ever met, but he can fight like a motherfucker, but he can't provide for anyone and he can't provide for himself, that dude will still get women pregnant and be an absentee father, right? If a man is able to not fight, in fact, 0 out of 10 can he fight, he will get crushed by a fucking skinny girl, but he can provide. He has a ton of money, so he can provide for himself and others. He'll get a girl, and he'll be able to impregnate women. So I think it's important to break it down, you know, to those simple truths. Women don't necessarily look for attractiveness the way that men look for attractiveness. Men look for attractiveness to create offspring that are attractive, and attractive women are probably the ones that were selected by, you know, and their ancestors of attractive women were probably the ones that were selected for their superior genetic qualities. And so you as a man are looking for an attractive woman because she probably has the most genetic superiority, superior qualities relative to probably uglier women, you know. And then as a man, she's looking for superior genetic qualities as well in a man, and what a man's purpose is to do, which is provide for those around him and defend those around him. So that's what I would say your focus should be, you know. Who knows? More hair might fucking trigger a woman's fucking, you know, something in the back of her mind. She might see more hair and she might be raised up in this feminist utopia of Disney Channel fucking 50 years and think to herself, oh man, you know, he's too hairy. But look, I bet you back fucking few hundred years ago, the hairiest man was probably one of the most sought after men, you know. caveman, brute man strength. Who knows what that fucking shit equates to. So just interesting stuff to think about. It's not all girls aren't looking for the same thing guys are looking for, and guys aren't looking for the same thing girls are looking for. Just be a G. Don't worry about your eyebrows. Worry about how fucking good you are at fighting. And if you suck at fighting, then go to a dojo tomorrow. Like, Google it right now, local dojos. And I recommend doing some sort of, like, I think karate is actually really good. Just make sure you go to a dojo where they spar, do some Shotokan karate. A lot of people like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I think it's great, but in a street fight, BJJ isn't going to do, a lot for you. It could probably more likely get you killed if you fight 5 dudes on the street and you take one of them down and try to choke him. Well, you got 4 people stomping on your neck. So I would say you're better off learning how to stand and fight, and I think Shotokan is better at that than something like boxing. Even boxing, look, you can go up against the best boxer in the world, but if you got a long ass leg and you kick him in the nuts, he's going down pretty quick. So yeah, I recommend like focus on becoming a G. If you don't know how to fight, then I suggest you all learn how to fight. Every single person here watching me, and I've always said this, it should know how to fight. Every single person here, like, go learn how to fight. If you don't know how to fight, then fucking learn. You should go to a dojo, spend $100 a month, and make sure you go somewhere where they spar and start learning, and then learn how to fight human beings as they're moving. It doesn't matter how good you are at hitting a bag. Learn to hit human beings that are moving, and that's probably going to be one of the most valuable things you can do to train to fight. Even if it's in like a really controlled environment, even if it's with girls, whatever, it's important to learn how to fight and hit a moving target. And in a karate controlled environment, there's a lot of respect and honor there, and they'll teach you how to do it right. So that's, I would recommend Shotokan karate. That's what I took. I took Wing Chun Kung Fu and a little BJJ, a little boxing, and I like what the combination of what I learned in Wing Chun and Shotokan is probably some of the most valuable stuff. But yeah, so learn to fight. That's gonna, like, look, how often do you see like women in the hood that have 3 freaking kids and no dad? It's because those guys can't provide for anyone, but they sure as hell are down to fight. They probably can't fight. They're probably total shit fighters, but relative to all the other shit fighters surrounding that area, they're able to fight, So how often do you see that shit, man? Where you have fucking some hood ass fucking female with 3 kids and 3 baby daddies, all they were, and they probably all, are 3 of them are in jail. But, they were all able to at least verbally exert their alpha male superiority. So I would say that's probably one of the important things to focus on. Yeah, all the other stuff comes second. All the other stuff. If you got a lot of money, it doesn't matter. You'll get 10 level supermodels without trying. If you want to know how to get girls, if you're ugly and you have a ton of money, well, go pay for a table at a club in a nice city and shake hands with the guy who runs the joint, and he will bring you girls because he wants you to come back. So literally all you have to do is show up and buy a table, buy a bottle, and say, thank you for having me. This is a beautiful establishment you have here. Man, this place is really cool. It's great to be here. Oh, you're such a kind gentleman. Oh man, you're such a class act. We love having you here. What can I do to make this better for you? Oh, you why do you have an empty table? Let me get some girls for you. Pfft. Next thing you know, you got 5 girls and 2 bottles at your table, and you got a guy smiling because you just paid him fucking 5 G's for 2 bottles and a table. And now you're surrounded by 5 hoes that, are dressed to impress, but then they go home to an empty apartment with fucking no food in the fridge, and it's a tiny ass space, and they're all broke as shit, but they get some simps to buy them clothes and shit like that. And that's how it works out, man. You got money, it's easy as hell to get girls. If you don't got money, go to a rock climbing gym. Get a membership at a rock climbing gym. Make sure you learn to fight. And you know, you'll find tons of good looking, attractive girls at a rock climbing gym, man. There's a lot of good looking girls that are in good shape, and you know, rock climbing gyms are a good place to get girls for sure, man. Yep. But there's probably a lot of hippie fucking females there nowadays. A lot of fucking blue hair people. All right. So are we cool? Is everyone good? Um I'm here to serve Andre and Jackknife and everyone. I know everyone here is cool, and thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm just kind of chilling, but I figure maybe I can start wrapping it up here soonish. But I if you guys have anything you want to discuss, I'm happy to tap that before we sign off. But we good. All right. Well, much love to you all. Um, read any good books. Yeah, I read the book of Romans in the New Testament. I'm reading the book of Acts. Strongly recommend the Bible. I think everyone should recommend. I think everyone should be reading the Bible. Um, outside of the Bible, I'll think of some recommendations. It depends on what you're looking for, but the Bible for sure. I mean, we're in the end times, so read the Bible. All right. So yeah, you know, everyone, happy Friday. It was good. Thanks for chilling with me. I had a great time with you guys. I hope you guys had a great time as well. And you know, much love to you all. Honestly, I wish you guys all the absolute best, and I'll catch you guys in the next stream. All right. Have a great, freaking happy, beautiful Friday, everyone, and bend out your comfort zone. Go talk to a new girl tomorrow. Go hold the door open for a stranger. Go fucking turn your shower water cold. Go do some push-ups. Go learn to fight. Sign up for a dojo tomorrow. Do something out your comfort zone if you know, to be a G. And you guys, it's not all about Bitcoin, this and that. You know, if you are, funny enough, if you are all about Bitcoin, then you should be about fighting too, because Bitcoin's about freaking revolt and freedom. So, anyways, catch you guys soon. Hope to hear about everyone lives improving as a result of their own initiative.